Street Champs, come get put on. Today I'm in here with a very special guest, Dave Feamster, former professional hockey player. You've been in the pizza business for, you said 30 years, 35?
35 years, yes, sir.
And you're the owner of every Little Caesars in Pueblo, Colorado, right?
And LaHunt and Lamar, too.
That's awesome. Wow. Yeah, thanks so much for being here, man. I really appreciate you coming.
My pleasure. It's fun to be with you and kind of experiment what we're going to talk about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was really excited for this conversation. One second, I'm going to close this window.
Sure.
Too much noise. But all right, before we get into all that, what were you up to today before you came over here?
You know what? I was working pizzas right till I came over here about 4:45. But throughout the day, I was working on some orders for. They're doing a Mercy of Mission dental program at the State Fair, 29th, 30th, and October 1st of this month. We're going to serve over 1,000 people for dental needs that people don't have insurance.
Oh, wow.
So we're going to feed the doctors and the volunteers that are doing their time. They're donating their time. So I was coordinating with the lady who's coordinating that with the volunteers. And then I went to work and worked pizza from about 1 o'clock till just before I got here.
Mm-hmm. Wow. So you're still actively working like almost every day in your own?
I'm in the business every day.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome. What makes you want to do that? Why don't you kind of take yourself out of it?
You know what I found is whenever I've tried that, it doesn't quite run the same.
Really?
And it's it's not because people don't care. It's just organization and just having the team that you have to pull off every day that we do. We have to be on task every day. So I just try to make sure that we're all doing what we're supposed to do. The schedules are full, making sure we're ready to set up for the night of business. Mm-hmm. So I feel like I enjoy what I do, but it's important for me to be a big part of it because that's the reason we succeed is because there's follow-up and there's details.
Yeah. How old are you?
I'm 64 as of September 10th.
Really?
Just turned 64.
Wow. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Late birthday. I think my cat is going to try to go up there.
Okay.
Man, let's see. So you can make it.
That's an athletic move right there.
That's her spot, but I have half a mind to just put her away so we can have a better conversation.
It's all right.
All right. I had to put my cat away. She was going crazy. She smelled the pepperoni or something. So getting back into it, you said you're still working day to day. Do you have any, partners in the business?
I don't.
You don't?
I started back in 1986, one store, just thinking maybe I'll just get that one store and make that the best store I can make it. And then opportunities came in to grow, so I started growing. So it started small, waited 2 years after that first store was built, and then went to the bank and said, hey, do you think there's money left to build the equity on the first store to build a second store? Kind of like Monopoly when you play Monopoly. Mm-hmm. And so it worked out that I got some more financing for the second store, and it just kept going till I actually had 8 at one time. We've closed 2, one out in Blend and one in Canyon City. Mm-hmm. So we're at 6. But now my wife is my full-time partner, though.
Really? Still to this day?
Yeah.
That's awesome. I'm going to take it back a little bit.
Sure.
Just, where are you from?
I'm from Michigan. I was born and raised in Detroit, born in 1958. I'm the youngest of 5 boys. And my dad used to put an ice rink in our backyard when I was a kid. In the winter times, he'd flood our backyard. And I thought it was this huge backyard. Now, when I go back there and see that yard, it's really tiny. But as a kid, I thought it was huge. So every day after school, we'd have hockey games in my backyard. And that's kind of really where I got started as far as playing hockey. And I had great parents. They loved me, and they were so committed to me and my brothers that they sacrificed a lot for themselves for us to have skates and sticks and all equipment we needed to play hockey. So that's kind of the backbone of my life is that backyard hockey rink days of learning about work, learning about discipline, learning about competing. And I was always the youngest guy, so I had to compete a little harder against the bigger guys that I was playing against. And I think in the big picture of my life, it really paid dividends for me because I'm not a big guy, and to play at a level to make it to the NHL, you have to be competitive. And I had to bring another extra layer of that because of my size deficiency, Mm-hmm. So I think I'm learning in the backyard, not giving up, playing hard every day in the afternoon. I just thought it was fun, but I learned how to compete.
Mm-hmm. You eventually went on to the Blackhawks?
Yeah, that's where I played. But before that, I went to Colorado College. That's what kind of brought me to Colorado. And so I played 4 years, from 76 to 80 at Colorado College hockey. And then I got drafted by Chicago in 1978. And I stayed in school and finished my hockey career at college before I got signed with Chicago. And I played 5 years for Chicago, 3.5 in Chicago, 1.5 in their minor league. 1 year in New Brunswick, Canada, and a half a year in Dallas, Texas. Then I got called up and played 3.5 years in Chicago. Then I got injured.
What happened? What injury?
I got hit from behind and cracked a vertebrae in my lower back. So it was serious enough that it forced me to retire. I was 26 years old at the time. I was kind of hoping I was going to make it to like 30, maybe, save some money up and have a little savings so I could retire maybe or whatever. But it didn't work out that way. But as I look back on it, Deryk, I really got out before I had a series of many injuries. Like some guys have knees that are shot and their shoulders. I had one big injury, and it kind of took me out of the game. But looking back, it spared me from a lot of issues down the road. I would have had arthritis or knee replacements and all that stuff. I never had any of that.
Yeah. A lot of people talk about like football back in the day, but I couldn't even imagine how hockey was back in the day, but it was like way rougher.
We didn't wear helmets at the time.
Oh, wow.
And so, it was intense, yeah. And it was a lot more fighting back when I played than there is today because I've kind of taken it out of the game pretty much. So, yeah, it was a big man's game, and I was playing at a level that I was not the size, but I competed hard, so that's what gave me the opportunity. So I look back thinking it worked out the way it should have. I got a chance, I got a taste to play, but it didn't affect me long-term physically,
Mm-hmm. Wow, how much were people like getting hit in the head a lot with the puck?
It's funny. It doesn't happen that often.
Really?
You would think it would.
Yeah.
Now I've gotten deflections, got hit in the face before, but very rarely directly does it hit you because you're kind of you're on task looking where the puck is. You got to keep your head up.
Mm-hmm. Wow, I couldn't even imagine that. You got like any like crazy fight stories or anything from hockey that you remember, like the craziest, most gruesome game?
More so, I played with 3 or 4 guys that was kind of their job to be the tough guy. So I was right there for a couple of really big fights that buddies of mine. But I didn't. What happens in hockey when I played was 3 or 4 tough guys would fight the other team's 3 or 4 tough guys, and the rest of us played hockey. So I wasn't really a fighter. I got in a few scraps, but some guys that are they're dedicated fighters in the game. Every night they knew they had their heads up like they were going to have to go tonight. That was their job. So that was a little different. So I wasn't, in the heat of battle sometimes it would happen, but I was more of a hockey player.
Wow, that makes sense. Yeah, the designated fighter, that totally makes sense. A shooter, if you will.
Yeah.
In modern hip hop terms. All right, so coming outside of, well, let's go back a little bit more.
Sure.
What about your parents? Like, how was your relationship with your parents growing up?
My dad was. It's kind of funny. He never met his father. His mother got impregnated by a fellow he had a family, was married, and find out she was pregnant, and she was working in this West Virginia plantation, and she was 19 years old. He found out she was pregnant and shipped her to Detroit, and out came my father. So he never met his father. So he grew up as a single kid, and that can go a lot of different ways as he became a father, and it turned him to being a better father. He was really committed because he knew what he didn't have. But it's kind of crazy, Deryk. At 14 years old, he told me the story that in his neighborhood there was a local church called the Woodward Avenue Baptist Church, and he went and tried out for the basketball team because he loved playing basketball. So he made the team, and the pastor of that church kind of took him under his wing and kind of started mentoring him. Took him to lunch, gave him money to buy a pop, just kind of embraced my father because he knew he didn't have a father figure. And my dad said really a big part of his being a success as a father was attributed to that pastor of that church that really poured into his life and showed him, a loving relationship with a man. So he became a great father to us. So we were blessed because of that man, what he did for my father. We were the recipients of that love. So my dad was a dedicated father. My mom was a great mom, never drove a car. Back then she never worked. She was a stay-at-home mom. But she was a heavy drinker. And it really affected our family because she would be drunk a lot in the afternoons. I'd come home from school and it's like, oh man, as a kid, you're very disappointed. You get your friends over, you're kind of embarrassed because she's falling around. And so that was kind of a tough part of our family. Now, when she was sober, she was a beautiful person, really a great mom. She was very loving to the neighborhood kids. She'd have kids when we over from our neighbors, and she'd bring out food for all the families in the neighborhood, for the kids. So she was really great. But if she got drinking, it was a different story, and that was a tough part of my life. But again, I think it charged me with an anxiety, or maybe I don't know if anger is the right word, but it was a release for me playing hockey. So it kind of fed me to be a competitive hockey player, and afterwards I felt real released of all the anxiety and maybe the stress of dealing with my mom's drinking, and that was like therapy, I guess you might say. Mm-hmm. So that was the game was really a benefit to me in my life, but things outside of that fueled me playing as hard as I did when I played. So it's interesting how we all get formed,
Yeah, I feel like back then I can't speak on it. I'm only 25, but what I've learned is that I feel like stay-at-home housewives, they were kind of marketed towards to do like recreate or do like medical pills or drink more or stuff like that. There was always something for them. So she fell into that.
She did. We had a little Italian family lived down the street, and they made their homemade wine. So she'd always go down there and get a bottle of wine from Mrs. Messina. So when she had purple lips, I knew, oh, here we go. It was going to be a wild day because she had that purple lips from the wine that she drank. Mm-hmm. So that was always a challenge coming home. What were you going to find? Mm-hmm. And that was always a challenge to deal with that.
Did you ever fall into drinking or anything?
You know what? I've had my share of beers when I was a hockey player growing up with my buddies, but I guess it was about maybe 22, 23 when I started backing off, and then when I got injured playing hockey, I really quit because I knew that I had to get all in whatever I was going to do next. After hockey, I didn't know what it was going to be, but I knew I had to be all in if I was going to be good at it. And kind of like hockey, I was all in. I didn't want to do something in my body that was going to affect me long term, to affect my ability to play. So, I just kind of, when I got in the pizza business, I stopped partying because it was really, I knew that I couldn't make mistakes. This is a detailed business. There's a lot of pieces that make it work, and if I'm missing out on any of those pieces, I'm not going to make it. And I always felt they were going to take me out in a body bag, or because I was not going to fail. I was just not even. I was going to have to be carried out of here because I was going to commit myself after my hockey career that this pizza business was going to work.
Oh wow, and that's interesting because pizza's kind of like the party food.
Yeah, it is. Mm-hmm. Beer and pizza go hand in hand.
Yeah,
a lot of people eat pizza and drink beer for sure.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. What about your siblings? Are they still around? Where are they at?
I've got four brothers. One has passed away from lung cancer. He smoked cigarettes heavily. I've got one brother that's 83 years old, one who's 70 in November, and one's 67. So they're three of the four are still living out in the Detroit area.
Oh.
So I still go back once in a while and see him. Talk to him regularly, keep in contact.
Did any of them make it to professional hockey?
You know what? My one brother, Pete, who was next to me, he's 67. He played at Michigan State University, but he never got drafted. Mm-hmm. So he went out and got a job afterwards. My other brother, Mike, who's 70, he's the one who really started us off. He wanted to play, and he committed himself to trying out for a team. And he's the one who really stuck with it to get my brother Pete to get back into it. And then I kind of followed the footsteps. But my brother Mike and my oldest brother did not play hockey at all. He missed that loop of flooding in the backyard and the ice in our backyard.
Wow. Yeah, I bet they kind of look at you like the one that made it.
Well, you know what? And they take credit for some of it because they did beat me up in that backyard. I took a lot of poundings in the back. It is. Are you older or younger?
Yeah, I'm a younger brother. I have one brother.
Okay. So you probably got pounded a little bit.
Oh, yeah. Lots of cousins.
Yeah. So, that's what happened. So they were seizing me to get to the next level is what they tell me.
Mm-hmm. Dang. Yeah, that's a great origin story. So, did you, graduating or coming out of high school, what kind of kids were you like?
I was, what kind of crazy story, Deryk, is when I was 15, my mom got hit by a car and was killed.
Oh.
So I was in 10th grade at the time. And the challenge I had with my mom drinking, she kind of interfered with our family life because my mom and dad would fight when she drank, and it would get ugly. So when she died, there was a sense of relief, which sounds crazy, but I was sad, but there was a sense of relief that the fighting was over. I know that sounds kind of crazy to say that even, but so that was really the end of my childhood at 15. When my mom died, it's like, okay, now it's on me. I got to get really focused here if I'm going to be successful. When I was thinking at the time hockey, that was going to be my future. And fortunately, I had my dad behind me to take me to practice because I didn't drive at this point, buy my equipment, So I needed my father to hang with me, and he came close to me, and really, he was the impetus for me to get a chance to play at the next level. He gave me everything I needed. He took care of me, So coming out of high school, I was just I was focused where people are partying and doing drugs around me, but I knew that wasn't my future because I had a plan, I had a dream in my heart. Now how it was going to play out, I didn't know. But I was going to give myself every opportunity, and I just saw the people around me getting high and doing drugs and stuff. That wasn't what was going to get me to where I wanted to be. So I really kind of stuck in my own group as far as I played hockey, and that's who I hung out with. Those were my friends. I really didn't have a big social life in high school. I was always at the rink with my buddies that played hockey.
What year did you graduate?
76.
76, okay.
1976.
All right.
So, I was really a focused kid, and I was fortunate I got a chance to get a scholarship to play hockey at Colorado College. Mm-hmm. And I was 17 when I came out here. And so I really, God has a big part of my life, and He orchestrated an opportunity for me to get a chance to play hockey in Colorado College. And I had no really offers on the table, but I was trying out for a hockey team in Windsor, Ontario, right across the river from Detroit. And the manager of the rink gave the scout from Colorado College my name. He said, "Here's a kid that you want to talk to." And the guy ended up giving me a scholarship to Colorado College just from the conversation that somebody had seen me, told the scout about me, and opened up the door for me.
Wow.
So I think, and Deryk, whenever I go to schools, I always try to say, you know what, when you work hard, you don't think anybody's watching, but there's somebody paying attention that you don't even know. And in that rink, when I was trying out for that team in Windsor, there was nobody in the stands because it was just a tryout. But this guy was the manager / maintenance guy, and he was watching. And out of all the guys out there, he gave the scout my name. So, God was really gracious to me. But this man, it shows when you work hard, man. Nobody may see it, nobody may notice. You think, but there's somebody watching, and sometimes the door will open because of it. So when you do your very best, for me personally, it opened up a door in my life that it changed everything. It brought me out of where I was living in Detroit to Colorado, which was a beautiful country, man. I just couldn't believe how nice it was here. Sunny, the mountains. I had never seen mountains in my life. So really, it opened up a beautiful door to my life for 4 years. It's probably the best 4 years of my life.
Wow. If it's hard to say, but if you weren't playing hockey or were doing any of that, what do you think you would be or would have done?
That's a great question because my dad was a salesman, and every day my dad would dress up in a shirt and tie and a nice suit or some sort, suit jacket. And he took me on some calls several times. I'd go out and meet his customers and just see what he did. And I thought, man, this looks like a pretty good job. He was selling paper products. And you get dressed up, you meet your people that you like. They're kind of your friends, but they're buyers. And he made a nice living doing it. So I thought I was going to be a salesman. I wanted to be like my dad. Mm-hmm. That's what I was thinking. But now I sell pizza.
Yeah, a paper salesman. I honestly can't even fathom a paper salesman.
I know. Well, back then, you go to delicatessens and sell freezer paper, wrapper, deli paper, bread wrappers. Nowadays, I don't think they even have that. Bread wrappers. So it was a pretty big industry, but his company didn't pay commission. So my dad, he didn't make that much money, but he had the freedom of having a company car, and they paid for his gas. And that really fueled all of us boys playing hockey. He could go everywhere. He had that car, and he had the gas expense account. So that's where we got to go all over Canada, all over Michigan playing hockey with my dad's car. And that was kind of like, my dad says, without that job, I wouldn't have had that car. Even though I didn't make much money, we had that vehicle that gave us an opportunity to do what we did.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Everything falls into place, it seems like.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So coming into college and whatnot, what did you study?
I got a degree in business.
Degree in business. Okay. Just like general business, or
Yeah, business administration, and so I took economics, I took accounting, took some marketing classes, finance, and I got a degree. And I was really proud to get a degree in 4 years because I was not the best student, and I was playing Division I hockey, but I wanted to get out of there with a degree because I knew some point in hockey, in any sport, you're not going to play forever. In fact, it's probably not going to be. It might not be. You might not even play after college. But I had this little window of time, and then I used it to get in the pizza business.
Wow. So how do you think? I guess, how do you think you got involved in the pizza business, or like what was like your first step in the door?
Okay, see, that goes back to hockey again. When I was 12 years old, there was a team playing. They had a sign up in the Little Caesars in my neighborhood because they started in '59, so there's one near my house, and they had a tryout for a hockey team that they were sponsoring. So I went and tried out, and I made the team, and so I got to be friends with the people that started the whole Little Caesars chain back in 1959. Mike and Marion Illich is their name. So they were he was coaching. He was a father. His sons played on the team. I never dreamt about being in the pizza business, but after games, he'd bring some pizzas in the locker room. We'd get together. We'd have fun with the players, and the families, and we'd get together. So I thought it was pretty cool, and I played with them as I was growing up till I was 16. And so I knew the family pretty well, liked the pizza when I was a kid. And then I went on to play college and then in the NHL. Then I got injured. In 1986, I cracked my vertebrae in my back. And I did a couple things. I tried to start a travel agency in Chicago. And that didn't last long because the travel industry was changing. They didn't need a travel agent. They could book it themselves, kind of like they do now on the internet, So it was kind of turning at that point. So I decided that wasn't going to work. And then I had an offer to do a bread route, drive a bread truck in the Chicago area. The guy was a big hockey fan. He said, Dave, I get you a nice route. You can make a nice living, And I thought about that. And I said, okay, thank you for that opportunity. And one day a friend of mine called me up that I played with at Colorado College. His name is Dean McGee, and he called me up. He goes, hey, there's a guy in Colorado Springs doing the Little Caesars chain. And I bumped into him the other day we were talking about it. I said, I played hockey when I was a kid for the family that started Little Caesars. He goes, well, what are you going to do after hockey? And I said, I've been stumbling around for about a year and a half now trying to figure out what I was going to do. So he said, you know what, give the family a call and see if there's an opportunity. So I called Mrs. Illich, the mother, and she said, Dave, my son Mike, who I played with when I was a kid, he's doing the Denver area. He's developing the Denver area. It's about 1986 probably, 85, 86 area. Wow. So he had a few stores up there. So I moved out, sold my house in Chicago, moved in with Mike, lived in his basement, and I was just making pizzas in his stores in Denver, learning the business. And so after about 6 months of that, he had the Denver, Colorado Springs, Pueblo, and Dallas, Texas market. He had that whole area. And he goes, Dave, why don't you just take the Pueblo area and we can get together and play hockey and get our friendship going again after being away for a while. So he was very generous to me, and he opened up the opportunity for me to have the Pueblo market. So that's kind of how it stepped into it. But it was through hockey again that opened up a door and gave me the opportunity. So the game's been good to me, Deryk.
Wow. What was his name?
His name is Mike Jr., Mike Illich.
Mike Illich. Wow. That's awesome. Is he still doing the Denver area? And
you know what? He is not. He's gotten out of the pizza business, and another group has come in and bought that market. And so is the Colorado Springs, is a different owner too. But I've been here a long time, man. Just trying to do my job, do it well, and stay prevalent.
Yeah. Would you like another glass of water?
No, it's good. Thank you.
Sure. Do you mind if I smoke?
No, go ahead.
All right, for sure. Yeah. Just got to ask. All right. So, getting back on the timeline of things, when did you meet your wife?
Okay, so I didn't get married until I was 40.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I was a little later than the game than most guys. It was actually a friend of mine who was a really great friend of mine, Mike Cafasso. He's a Pueblo guy. He's in the banking business, and he worked with a lady who's like his right hand lady in the banking industry. And he said, "Oh, she's got a really nice sister," and he goes, "Dave, I think you guys would hit it off." So he set us up on a blind date. So we just met for down at the Riverwalk for a cup of coffee. That restaurant there. I don't know if you ever been down there.
Which one?
The Nature Center. It used to be. It's like an Adobe.
I don't know the name of the restaurant though.
You know what? I can't think of the name of it because it's changed hands a few times. But so we met there, and then we dated for about a year and a half, and I asked her to marry me, and it's been great because the families accepted me. They treat me like their own son. I mean, it's been a blessing for me in my life. Mm-hmm. And we got two boys, Sam and Joe, 21 and 19.
Oh, really? Nice. I'm 25. I'm around. Sam's 20. Sam's 21.
Yep.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Do they want to take up after you and be in the pizza business?
You know what? I've always said don't do it because I'm doing it. You know, if you want to do it, that's an opportunity down the road. But go out and live your dream. Go follow what you want to do. And they're both playing hockey right now, so they're trying to be hockey players. And one's in college playing, and one's playing junior hockey in Montana. So they're pursuing their dream. We'll see what happens. You know, I'd like to have them come in and help out and be a part of it, and then take over down the road. I think it'd be cool. But I don't want that pressure on them. Like, if you don't do it, I'm going to be mad. No. You know, do it if you feel like it. If not, follow your dream. Go for it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great opportunity. You know, a lot of people would love to have the opportunity.
I think so, too, Deryk.
Oh, yeah.
You know, we got a good name. We have a good market here. But, you know, it's like, I don't know, did your dad ever try to push you into something that you felt like, well, that's you, Dad. That's not me?
I mean, I think every dad, you know, even my dad's still alive, so he's still pushing me to do things that I'm like, I don't want to do that, Dad.
Right.
So, yeah, I feel that, but yeah, I guess looking in from the outside, it's a great opportunity, but who knows what they think. And
they both worked in the stores. They really, through high school, they were working. So they saw a taste of it, and you know, there's some stressful times in the back there, and you run out of things, or the oven breaks down, or whatever can happen. Mm-hmm. So they've seen the challenges, too, behind the scenes.
Yeah, and then they see the behind the scenes when they see you, you know, doing everything.
Right.
Does that ever get, you know, like, because you're actually in the store, but you're running, you know, the actual physical whole business. Does that ever get too much for you?
Well, you know what? The key, Deryk, is having great people, and I have great people. Pueblo has unbelievable the work ethic and the teamwork. I found some great people, and they're like my brothers versus employees because we go to battle every day.
Really?
You know, and so we got a tight group that we work with. So without that, I couldn't do this, mm-hmm. you know, because one guy can't do it all. So I get some really, really good people that we work hard together, and we create some good challenges, but we create some good goals for ourselves, and we go after it.
Mm-hmm. Wow. You know, that's I hear a lot of the opposite about Pueblo. You know, I've never hired anyone, but you know, a lot of people say, you know, people don't want to work, or people just want it. People just want it in their lap. They don't really want to do anything. You say the opposite?
You know, I've seen some of that, but really, the core people that I have now, one guy's been with me 33 years, a girl 34 years.
Oh, wow.
20 years, 15 years. So the core people that are the management team, they're unbelievable. They bring their heart every day to the game. Now, the young people coming up, sometimes we'll have turnover, but when I find good ones, man, they are awesome. Now, you might have to go 3 or 4 people to get to that one good one, but I've got a lot of good young people that are a big asset to our business. They show up every day. They do their job with their heart, and they bring it to the game every day, and we need that to make it do what we do, because it's like everybody else, we're shorthanded a little bit right now. Mm-hmm. With the COVID going on. Applications aren't really coming in like they used to. So the people that are working, everybody's counting on to pull their weight, or else we're not going to make it every night.
Mm-hmm. Wow. With COVID, you know, like obviously it affected your business, but you know, could you walk me through before COVID and then like during and whatnot and after?
You know what? We've actually gotten busier.
Oh, really?
Since we hit COVID, because we were kind of conceived as a safe food. You know, they can come through the drive-thru, we can deliver it to their house, leave it on the front porch. So we really didn't know what to expect, but we got busier. Now we had fewer people to pull that off, so sometimes we had to close our lobbies down. Every day was a game of how is this going to look today? What's the landscape? The mandates are coming at us. This guy got sick. So if you have a second one, it's called an outbreak. We got to shut down the whole store. Everybody get their mask on, separate, do not get 6 feet, stay 6 feet apart. So we really had a game plan every day of what was coming at us, trying to function and keep things rolling without having to close. So that added some more stress to it. So shorthanded, not knowing what the mandates were to come at you, and then getting busier, it was a challenge for 2.5 years. Still is, really. Mm-hmm. But during the peak times, we had several times where one person came down in different locations, and we're just hoping that second one didn't hit, or we had to close for 10 days or 2 weeks of quarantine. And that never happened. So we were very fortunate. God protected us there too. I really feel that, because it was stressful. Like, one kid got sick, and then his mom called me and said, "Hey, are you guys going to shut down?" I said, "Well, we only have this one case, but if we have another, we'll have to shut down." "Well, my daughter's not going to come in, you know." So you had parents that were scared for their kids, which is, you can understand that. So every day we're dealing with what's coming at us, and that's the business is challenging enough, let alone trying to deal with all the other elements coming at you.
Definitely.
So we're coming out of it now a little bit. We're starting to see a little more applications. People are wanting to get back to work, and we're feeling like it's coming around, but it's still busier than it has been before COVID, and we're still trying to deal with smaller payroll as far as amount of people working. So it's still a little bit stressful.
Mm-hmm. Did you get the vaccine?
I did not. I didn't get vaxxed. I just didn't think. I felt I was healthy. I work out all the time. I eat right. I never got sick, so I just kept going.
Definitely. So you didn't make like your employees get anything?
You know what? It was up to them, because I really felt it was a personal choice. I can't tell you to do something for your health when I'm not really sure what's in that vaccine. I didn't know if it was 1 year and the FDA approved it. I didn't know if it was safe to take. I thought, that's your choice, not mine.
Yeah, that's interesting. Because I'm sure you employ a lot of people, so a lot of other employers, they kind of wanted that, because then it'd be easier for them to do business.
Right. They were hoping it was going to keep them safe, I guess. But really, we never had an outbreak, and so I can't really explain that, but we didn't force anybody. If you wanted to stay home, they didn't have to come to work. We had a few people do that. I don't feel safe, Dave. Okay, wait till it's over. Wait till you feel safe, and you can come back. So wow. It was just kind of an open door deal. But we were looking for people, and that was kind of challenging to find them.
Wow. Did you know anyone that passed away from COVID?
Friends of friends, but not personally. People tell you stories at work and stuff. Mm-hmm. But I didn't have any friends that died. But I know it was serious. I know there were people dying around us.
Yeah. So
I didn't take it lightly, but I just I felt like I was healthy enough that I wasn't going to get it, and thank God I haven't. But did you have any people that you knew that passed? No.
No, I didn't know anyone that passed. I think I got it one time. I lost my sense of taste and smell.
Okay.
I couldn't do anything. I just stayed home. But
how long did it last?
Probably like about 2 weeks, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
I didn't get vaxxed.
You didn't get vaxxed either? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, people, some people are making fun of you probably. How come you aren't doing it? Or did you have people say, well, you should get vaxxed? Or?
I guess, people, in your generation were telling me, you need to do it for us, basically.
Right.
And it's interesting that you say you felt good enough not to.
Yeah, I just, my wife got vaccinated. My 2 sons did not. Most of the people I work with were vaccinated, so... it was really a mixed bag, but I just felt healthy enough that my antibodies were going to fight off whatever's coming at me, But I didn't have any scientific information behind any of that.
Yeah. I mean, who knows? Who knows anymore? Monkeypox and all that stuff coming out now, who knows? You guys scared of monkeypox at all?
You know what? I haven't even thought about it, to be honest with you. I've just been, after COVID, I just kind of, moved on, and I don't know. Is that something that's growing in Pueblo? I haven't heard.
I heard about 1 or 2 cases in Pueblo, and that's it.
Yeah, see, me too. So I mean, I don't think it's a big deal in Pueblo, but who knows? Maybe there's pockets that I don't know about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, who knows? You said you eat pretty good. How much pizza do you eat?
You know what? I eat pizza probably 4 days a week. Bless you.
Thank you.
Like at lunchtime, we'll be busy, I'll just grab a slice, put some jalapenos on there, have a slice while we're working, But about 4 days a week, I still love pizza. I do.
Really?
I've always loved pizza, and it's probably one of my favorite foods.
Just cheese and jalapenos, or what do you like on it?
You know what? I like green chili a lot. I'll put a mushroom, bell pepper, green chili, or sausage and green chili and onion together, and bring that home. And my boys go, "Oh yeah, Dad." They're digging on it too.
Yeah, heck yeah. What about the Papa Murphy's guy?
Yeah, I don't know him. No.
No, but you know of him?
Yes.
have you heard like he's kind of like fell off from greatness?
Oh,
have you heard his story?
No, I haven't.
I guess there was some interview where he said he eats, I forget, it was like 7 pieces of pizza a day or something like that.
Oh, wow.
And it was just like really, really sweaty, and it was just really hilarious. But I guess speaking of other moguls, like what about like Jake Jabs? You ever met Jake Jabs?
I have met him one time at one of these entrepreneur, like the Shark Tank things.
Mm-hmm.
I was impressed, man. The guy's got energy to burn, and he's what, 85?
Really?
Maybe pushing 90. And he was just a really upbeat guy, very authentic. He still works like a madman. I mean, the guy is still working regular hours, and he's 85 or something, you know?
Wow.
I was inspired. And he spoke to the group of young people, and I thought, man, this guy, he's got a great message, man. America is wide open. If you want to work hard, you've got it. You're going to make it in this world, in America.
Wow. I like that mindset, but a part of me is like yes, but a part of me is like it's obviously, if it seems like the hockey really played a big part in your life. If you wouldn't have played hockey, who knows where you would have been.
Right.
It's like really just sometimes things happen.
They do. And, one thing I got to say, Deryk, is I'm so fired up about it, is we're serving green chilies that are grown right here in Pueblo on our pizzas. They aren't Ortega. They aren't El Paso from a can. We got clearance about 10 years ago. Little Cedars went out and inspected Milberger Farms' kitchen and their processing area, where they bring it in, they roast it, and then they freeze it and package it, and then they sell it throughout the year. And so they came out and inspected his kitchen to make sure it was clean and sanitary. So they gave me the approval to go ahead and do that. And I'm the only guy in our system that's doing it because it's a local product. Mm-hmm. And it's probably our third topping is popularity-wise after pepperoni and sausage, green chili, and it's growing. People are still learning that we have it. And I'm just so excited to buy a product right here in our backyard that's homegrown. That's really one of our name games for the city of Pueblo is the Pueblo Chilies.
Yeah.
So to put it on our pizza and have it locally grown and processed, man, and we buy it every week. And Shane Milberg is the guy who's the farmer who runs that. He does a great job, but it's really a proud thing to put that on our pizzas.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love your pizza. I was actually eating a pizza today.
Come on.
And, I actually eat them pretty often.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Oh yeah. That's where I met you. Was at your restaurant?
Come on, man.
Yeah, it's a good time. So I got how many Little Caesars are there in America?
There's about 4,000 in the 48 states. Now, the fastest growing, Deryk, is, and I'm just learning this recently, is Mexico and South America are really taking and growing the brand.
Oh, wow.
Because we're kind of basically we're tapped out in the growth in America, as far as all 50 states, but that South America and Mexico is a big growth area. So 4,000 stores, and then growing pretty rapidly outside of the country. So it's got a big footprint out there, but we're still probably number 4 or number 3 in sales. Pizza Hut, I think, and Domino's are right there, and then Papa John's, and I think we're third or fourth. It kind of goes back and forth. Mm-hmm. But I grew up eating it, and it's kind of cool to be in the business. I loved doing it when I was a kid, playing hockey for the team. I remember pulling on my jersey when I was a kid, when I was 12, 13, and I'm thinking, I love the pizza, and it's pretty cool to wear the uniform for the pizza that I love.
Do you sponsor any hockey teams now?
We do. We were part of we're sponsoring the Bulls. We're one of the Bulls sponsors, but we've had young teams growing up in Pueblo for my boys. They played and I coached. Mm-hmm. So all the way up I was coaching and sponsoring the teams. So yeah, I'm still involved in the game in certain ways.
Yeah, and in the community, that's how I was first introduced to you. You were speaking at Cesar Chavez, and you were speaking to all the young people, and I don't really remember what the speech was like, what was in it.
Yeah.
But I remember like the energy and just seeing someone. I thought you were from Pueblo at that point, but just seeing someone do it and then give back and talk to the community on how to do it and why it's important to do that give back and stuff like that. Very
well, I'm a product of it, really. Mm-hmm. And Mr. Illich opened up a door for me to play for his teams, and then he gave me the opportunity to be a franchisee. So really, I just feel so fortunate that I've had this blessing of knowing Mr. Illich and not playing this game that I loved, and all of a sudden doors opened up from it. But it's not because I'm anything special. It really isn't. It's just I work hard every day. I'm focused, and I love what I do. And I guess it's an easy deal when you love what you do.
Have you ever suffered from depression or dealt with that?
You know what? I don't think I've ever had depression, but when my mom was drinking, there was definitely bouts of trying to figure out how is this all going to play out. I couldn't figure out, like, I can't stop her. And she said she loves me, but she can't stop drinking. So she must love that more than me. But when you're an addict, you don't really have that mindset. You're just hooked. You can't stop. Mm-hmm. And I couldn't figure that out as a kid. I thought, she could stop if she wanted to. But she couldn't. And so that, I wouldn't say depression, but it was anxiety to try to figure out, how is this going to work out? And then my parents would be fighting, and it's like, gee, what do I do here? How does this work out? How does our family stay together when she's doing something that's breaking it up and I can't stop her? Mm-hmm. And so that was a challenge for me. But hockey, again, was my release, man. That was my therapy.
Wow. Yeah, it's a very inspiring story. How many interviews have you done?
Well, not a whole lot. I mean, a lot of times I'll speak, but not interviewed. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. My highlight for me now is going to prisons. I love going to prisons because when I'm talking, they are riveted on me because their attention is like, this is something that we're getting to do. No, we don't get to do much of this. And I get to go in there for a couple hours, and they'll give me 2 hours just to talk and fire these guys up that when you get out, you can make it. But there's some things you got to get right. You got to get straight. You got to get clean. You can't play games. You can't pretend like you're going to play with the old neighborhood. No, you got to get away from where you came from and start fresh, and then you're going to have a chance. But then you got to show up every day. You can't be playing games about not showing up or being half-hearted when you're working, being sloppy, But it's like that for anybody. But you guys got an F next to your name. You got a felon next to your name, so you're going to have a harder time than the guy down the street that doesn't have that F next to his name. So you're going to have to even bring it more. And it's really interesting. I see guys get out, and I bump into once in a while, and it's inspiring to say, man, when you talked about my attitude is going to create my altitude, I realized I didn't have a good attitude. I had a chip on my shoulder. I thought everybody owed me something. I got out of prison, man. I poured my heart into this job, and I'm doing well. I got a family. I hear some success stories. And it makes you feel like right on. So the prison is my fertile ground, man. Those guys are open, their hearts are open, and they're looking at me scared to death. When I get out of here, can I make it? I see the fear in their eyes, and I could see that I would be the same way. If I was incarcerated and also 10 years later, here I am getting out. Can I do it?
Do you guys employ felons?
We have in the past. We haven't lately, not because we haven't wanted to. It's just they haven't had a lot of applications from them. But I have hired several, and most of them have been very good workers. A couple have robbed me. I got robbed by a guy at gunpoint that I hired. So, I've been burned a couple times, but that's not going to change giving the next guy a shot. Mm-hmm.
You personally got robbed at gunpoint?
It was at gunpoint for one of our managers. He came in, and he knew where the safe was because he worked for us, and then he came in, and then they identified him, He was on drugs when he did it, so he went back to prison. Man, it was a tough story, but he made some bad choices, Mm-hmm.
How many times have you guys been robbed?
We got robbed recently during the COVID year, about 3 months ago. A guy had a crowbar, and he was going and just popping our doors, and we don't have any cash on the premises when we close. So I think he robbed 2 of ours, Belmont and then Sunset, and he kind of got the feel like, I'm not getting anything. And the cops followed a stolen car to this house, and some of our stuff, cash drawers, he had some other items in there that were our items. A safe, they took a safe. It was empty. It was a $1,200 safe. And the cops went to his house, and he had a lot of our goods. So they did catch him. But then they had to go to a search warrant, and by the time they came back, he was gone. Mm-hmm. So they didn't catch him. But so I think he's done a few jobs around town, the same kind of process. I've heard Subway had some challenges with a crowbar popping it open. So that same guy, I think, was doing a few people.
Wow.
Yeah. It's a bummer because it breaks your heart, You work hard, and then somebody does damage to your store, and they do the vandalism part, breaking stuff, and you go, wow, really? But, it's happening to a lot of people, unfortunately.
Yeah. Never happened to you personally?
I was never in the store when we got robbed.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was traumatic. The fact the manager did quit. He said, Dave, I can't do this. And he quit after that guy pulled a gun on him. It was in our blend store. And John said, Dave, I just can't do it. And he quit. And I said, I don't blame you. I can understand, when you have a gun put in your face. I've never had that. So, like I said, I understand, man. And, it's really hard to prevent that because, you're open late at night. We're open till 11 o'clock and the weekends. We have more than one person in the store at all times, but still you just can't control who's coming through those doors,
Dang. I couldn't imagine. I mean, give them what they get. You get to take all the pizza you want, right? Yeah, I couldn't imagine. I got a question on your day-to-day basis. When you're not at work, what are you doing?
Okay, that's a great question. I'll get up in the morning and I like to get a sweat before I get going. So before I eat breakfast, I'll either go to the treadmill or I get some trails out in Pueblo West where I live, and I'll just kind of do a jog or maybe speed up, then walk for a while, speed up. Then I'll do 90 push-ups, and then I come home, shower up, get cleaned up, and then I have my breakfast. And usually I have a bowl of oatmeal, big bowl of oatmeal with some nuts on there and some berries or some fruit of some sort. And then I'm ready to roll. So then if I'm not working, I'll probably take my wife and maybe go for lunch somewhere, or I like golfing too. So I'll go golfing maybe on the off day too. I haven't skated in a while because my boys are moved on, so I'm not really plugged in and coaching or anything at this point, which is kind of, it's unusual since I've been skating since I was about 4, so it's ingrained in my heart, but I really haven't had the opportunity. And then I was playing in a men's league, Deryk, and when you're playing against guys 20 and 25, and I'm 60, it's just a different level of juice they have that I don't have anymore, So I said, this game is getting a little, and they're wanting to fight and stuff. I said, no, I'm out. So I played for 2 years in this men's league with my boys, and then last year I didn't play. So I think my competitive hockey is pretty much toast.
But you can still skate?
I can still skate. In fact, I do have a hockey camp every summer here in Pueblo.
Oh, really?
It's a Fellowship of Christian Athlete hockey camp, and we had 55 players this year, a few girls, mostly boys, from 9 to 14 years old. Entry level or intermediate level, and we learn about Jesus as we're learning about the game and just how to navigate through life, how important character is, making choices, as well as learning the game and the ins and outs of being a good skater.
Wow, that sounds really interesting.
It's a great camp, and anytime you serve God, I get more out of it than I give, because you see these young people, their hearts open up, maybe the first time they heard about God, and they're willing to listen to you and maybe create an opportunity to start a relationship with Jesus. And you never know where it's going to go at that age, but it's planting seeds, and the parents have come back year after year. We're doing this about 13 years now, and had a lot of parents bring their younger siblings and their cousins, and we had a group out of New Mexico who brought 5 of their kids up every year. Now they're old enough and they moved on, but it's a fun camp. My boys are involved in it. I got a few of the younger players that are my son's ages that come back, and they do it for a volunteer as well.
Wow, that's awesome. So your boys don't live here in Pueblo? They
did until last year. Sam went to Liberty University, which is in Virginia.
Yeah.
And Joe was in Montana playing junior hockey. But they both went to Pueblo West High School and graduated.
Wow. Can't wait to see if their legacy continues. If they don't take it over, what's your plan?
That's a good question. I really don't have an exit strategy, Deryk, other than my boys. I feel like I've got a lot of years left in me. Now, I don't know if I do or not, but I'm thinking that right now. So I don't really have an exit strategy at this point. I mean, there's a guy in Springs that has 6 stores or 7 stores, and he's always calling me, Dave, I'm willing to buy your stores. Whenever you're ready to sell, I'm ready to buy them. And so, he's talking to me, and another guy in California said, hey, I want to buy stores in Colorado. I like it there. If you want to sell, give me a call. So I've had a couple guys talk to me, but I really haven't thought seriously about doing it.
How much does a Little Caesars cost?
To open a store today, Deryk, it's about $500,000 for the equipment, making either a shopping center or build a freestanding building is a little bit more, but about $500,000. So I mean, it's pretty expensive to get into.
Oh yeah.
And it wasn't. It was like $250 when I built the first store in Sunset. It was $250,000, but that was a freestanding building, 2,200 square foot, which is bigger than the most. The average footprint's about 1,200 to 1,300 square feet in a shopping center.
Mm-hmm.
So it was cheaper then. So it's challenging now. It really is, because food pricing is going up. Inflation has hit. Utilities are up. Oh my goodness. Electric, gas, natural gas has really gone up. So it's really been a challenge with the small margin that we have. We have to do a lot of transactions to make it all work. So it's been a challenge. It really has, with the increase in inflation in the last 5 months. Like I know, just yesterday I heard August prices went up 8.5% for food, utilities, and all kinds of products that we use.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So it's, when you get raised prices, you can't just raise your menu prices because your cost of food coming in goes up. You got to monitor, how much am I charging here? I can't charge $14 for a pizza, because our niche is kind of the value niche. So it's very, very challenging. You got to manage your labor really well to keep that in line, or else if that gets out of hand, you're not going to make money, So every day we're watching every piece of our business and monitoring how it's working, and the food cost right now has been a challenge.
So on like a average hot and ready, what are you guys making on that?
You know what? At the end of the day, we're making about 20 cents on a pizza after we pay the rent, utilities, insurance, food costs, labor. Everything's boiled down. The bottom line is about 20 cents on a pizza.
20 cents on a hot and ready?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So you got to sell a lot of hot and readies to make it work,
Yeah.
So it's a fine-tuned machine that if something goes out of kilter and you don't cut your people out in time because you kept too many, all of a sudden your labor gets high, affecting the food costs. Now we're making a dime per pizza, So it's like, it's a very fragile line that we got to walk to make sure we're successful.
Mm-hmm. Wow. What's the most expensive item on the menu?
Well, right now our chicken wings, the price of chicken went really high during COVID because Tyson had closed a couple of processing plants.
Heard they were getting burned down or something, right?
Yeah, there was some vandalism, or I don't know what was going on, but all of a sudden those two plants, they weren't producing chicken wings. Now the supply is shorter and the demand was up because people like chicken wings, and during COVID they were home. It was a good food to get left on your front porch. So we were actually cut back from 50 cases a week to 37 cases, and we were running out every week. Mm. So they're at $8.99 for an 8-piece order of wings, which is probably our most expensive item on our menu. And it's not because we're making a lot of money on those, because they're a very high-priced item.
Yeah, I love chicken wings.
I do too. I do. When I bring those home, my boys are fired up too.
What's the least expensive item on the menu?
Our Crazy Bread's $3.99, and that's probably cheapest. Now we have condiments like ranch dressing, or we got some garlic butter dressing. There's 89 cents, but an actual food item would be your Crazy Bread's $3.99 for 8 pieces.
Yeah, there's a girl here, Madi. She's on the shows all the time. She loves you guys' Crazy Bread. She gets it, I think, every Friday, she says.
Well, we have some loyal customers, bro. We really do, Deryk. And I appreciate it, because that's what makes our business work, is those customers that come every week. Mm-hmm. Once a year, that doesn't make it for us. We need a repeat visit. And we have a lot of good customers. So it's a pleasure to see those faces, and they love the chili. They love the Crazy Bread. It's pretty cool to have that relationship,
Oh, yeah. I think we need to make you guys the official pizza of Street Champs.
Come on. I like it. I like it. In fact, we just started. We're the official pizza of the NFL.
I saw that.
Just started here this year. So that's pretty exciting. That's kind of big time,
That's huge. I mean, that's huge. The freaking NFL that's the Super Bowl is the most watched thing on TV, like, every year.
Yeah. So we're connected. We never could afford it before. And Pizza Hut was the sponsor up until last year, and then they turned it over. They didn't want to do it, so we jumped on it. So I'm pretty excited about it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Are there any like NFL deals that go on, or is there football pizza?
Just yesterday they came out. Well, first time I've seen it. If you buy $20 or more 1 hour before the game, you have 1 hour, you get a free large one-topping pizza. So
that's a really good deal.
It is a good deal. So if you buy 2 pizzas and an order of wings, you got your $20, and you get the third pizza free.
and there's games Monday, Thursday, Sunday. So.
Right. So I think we're going to get a lot of transactions there, and you have to do it through the internet. It's an online ordering deal. So it's interesting.
Hear that, guys? That's awesome. All right. What kind of music are you listening to right now?
You know what? I'm still kind of in the 70s and 80s, to be quite honest. I'm still like the Beatles. I like the James Taylors. The oldies, the ones that I grew up with, Led Zeppelin, The Who. They're kind of retro. Mm-hmm. Most of them are dead, and most of them aren't together anymore. But my boys are all definitely into rap, and they're always playing it at the house, and they're in the shower. They got the rap on. At the store, that's what everybody wants to listen to. We got the radio going in the back, so everybody has fun doing it. And so I go with it. I'm not a rap guy, but that doesn't mean it's not good.
Mm. What kind of rappers do you know of, or that you kind of like?
Drake is one that my boys have always liked. Mm.
Drake, yes. Little Caesars knows about Drake.
Yes, Drake. And of course, Detroit, growing up, Eminem was kind of the big guy there.
Mm. You ever met him?
No, I have not. I've not met him. I haven't met too many guys. One of the guys I did meet was from the Eagles. They were in Los Angeles. We were playing the L.A. Kings, and he was in a bar, and he came over and goes, "Hey, nice to see a kid from Detroit make it." And I go, "Wow, thanks a lot." I didn't know who he was. And a buddy of mine said, "Dave, that was Glenn Frey from the Eagles." I said, "Oh, really? I didn't know that. He's from Detroit."
Oh, wow.
So it was pretty cool meeting him. Met a few actors. Hugh O'Brien. I don't know if you ever met Andre the Giant. Ever heard the name?
Oh, I've heard him.
Big wrestler.
Yeah, you met him.
I met him in Montreal. He came in our locker room, shook all our hands. He had a hand like a pillow. I mean, the man was 7'6", maybe 480 pounds or something.
Really?
A massive guy.
Did he say anything?
Yeah, he was pretty friendly. Oh, I'd like the game of hockey. He had a real heavy accent. He's from a foreign country, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know where he's from even.
Me neither.
Eastern Europe of some sort, sound like. But he was a good guy. He shook our hands, and we all went, "Oh, wow." Thank goodness you didn't play hockey, bro.
Wow, that's amazing. Yeah, he has an amazing story. He passed away really young.
Did he? I didn't know that.
I don't know. I think I'm pretty sure he did. Don't quote me.
Okay.
Maybe he died really old, but I feel like bigger guys like that, they don't really stick around too long.
I think he might have been in his 30s, maybe early 40s even.
Yeah.
In that range. So I think you're right. Mm. I remember hearing that somewhere along the way.
Man. All right, back on rap.
Okay.
Have you heard of Yeet?
I've not.
Yeet? Oh, man, you got to show your boys that, and they'll be like, "Wow, Dad, where have you been?"
Okay. They always say that to me, too. Like Little Dolph.
Oh, yeah, Young Dolph.
Young Dolph.
Young Dolph,
they liked him. Now, did he just die?
He did die.
He did die.
Yeah, he got murdered at a cookie store.
Wow.
Yeah. Did you hear about, what's his name? P&B Rock. He got murdered at a Roscoe's Chicken and Waffle.
I didn't hear that.
Like 3 days ago.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Is he a big name?
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. They were open 24 hours after that happened.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. They were busy? If everybody came in to see?
I mean, necessarily, I don't know, but I think it happened in Los Angeles, so I would imagine it's busy.
Okay.
Just in general.
Was it a gang-related deal, or what happened?
I don't know. I don't want to speak on it too much. I don't know.
Okay.
But I just know it happened at like a chicken and waffle spot, a restaurant. That's why I brought it up.
Wow.
Yeah. It kind of brings up the topic, like when a heinous thing happens, like how soon after can you continue business?
Right. Yeah, I know. I hope I don't ever have to deal with that issue, man. That'd be serious if somebody got killed in your business. Wow. That would be hard.
Yeah. But Yeet. Yeah, show your boys Yeet.
Okay, Yeet. How do you spell it? Y-E-T-E?
Y-E-A-T.
Y-E-A-T, okay.
Yeah.
I have to turn them on to that. They probably know about it.
They know about it for sure.
Yeah, if he's hot, they're on to him.
Oh, yeah. But when you play him, they're going to be like, wow.
Dad, are you really doing that? Well, you guys are old news. I've been doing this for a long time.
Exactly. That's hilarious. All right. Let's see. I feel like we've had a really good conversation here. I don't know how long we've been going. Probably like close to an hour.
Okay. Sounds good.
Is there any topics that you definitely want to get off your chest or anything?
I just I'm really proud of Pueblo, bro. I'm not from here, but you can talk to people and they look you in the eye, and they're real people. They're not transients. Some of them 4 or 5 generations. My wife's family's 4 generations came over from Eastern Europe to work in the steel mill, and the roots and the foundation of the people that live here, I think, are hardworking, honest, real people. And they're good people. I've lived in Chicago, I've lived in Detroit, I lived in Dallas, I lived in Canada, I lived in Denver, I lived in Colorado Springs going to school. And this town is my home, and I'm very proud. My boys were born here. I married a Pueblo girl, and my boys are Pueblo guys. And I gotta say this: Paul Andrada, who is do you know Paul?
Mm-hmm.
He's a guy. He's a trainer, and he's worked with my sons the last 2 years, and he has poured every bit of knowledge into my sons to get them where they're at today, to compete where they're playing. And he's so knowledgeable. He's always studying new ways of working out, to get faster, to get better athletic as well as strong. And he's just been a very big inspiration for my two sons, not just as a workout guy, but inspirational as far as attitude and bringing your heart to the game and being the full package, a good person and a good athlete, but being humble and being hardworking. You know, he's building those kind of athletes. And he's from the East Side. He grew up in the East Side. He played football at East. And he's really wanting to build really an empire of young athletes in the East Side to show them who we are by the way we work and the way we compete. And I've been really impressed with Paul. So I'd like to give Paul Andrada a shout out. He's just a great guy.
I like that.
Good man and a really good person, but he's really knowledgeable on what he's doing.
I'd love to have him on here.
He would be a great guy.
If you could, middleman, I'd love to be introduced.
Deryk, you have to give me your card so I
yeah.
can pass that on. I think he would love to talk to you because he likes young people. He's an inspirational guy.
Let's do it.
Yes.
Maybe after him, let's have all three of us, and then you guys can come on the show and meet everyone. That'd be an interesting dynamic.
That would be. Because you know what? He's a football guy, and his son, Luke Andrada, do you remember him? He played at East High School, won the championships. He was a quarterback for that team when they were winning the state championships. Remember in East?
Really? No. What year was that?
Like 4 or 5 years ago, maybe.
Man, no. I wasn't living in Pueblo at that time. I was living in Durango.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you missed out. He was a quarterback, but he's in track now. He's running track at CU in Boulder, and he's running like a 10.4 in the 100 meters. I mean, this guy's, he's state champ here in Colorado. He was a state champ in Pueblo.
Wow.
And so he's got some skills, but his father's a dynamic guy, and he's really working on anybody. Don't let money hold you back. Come to my gym. I'll work with you, especially if you're going to work hard. He does demand that.
Wow. I love that. I love hearing, like you said, I like hearing people do things from where I'm from.
Yes.
And it's always, puts a battery in my back. That's why I like to have entrepreneurs on here.
Yeah, I agree, man. Because you know what? It doesn't matter where you're at. It's where you're going. It doesn't matter where you've come from, bro. If you want to do something, America's open. It's open for business, man. How bad you want it, that's going to determine how much you make as far as opportunities and growing. I really believe that in my heart.
Wow. Love that. Dave, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, Deryk. Thanks for having me, bro.
Of course. Is there a social media for Little Caesars, or do you have any social media?
You know what? I am not a social media guy, so I don't have any.
Okay. I think there needs to be a Little Caesars Pueblo Instagram. That'd be awesome.
You know what? And they do. Little Caesars nationally does have a Facebook account and all that, but I've never gotten into that. I'm a dinosaur in that area, bro.
I feel that. You need to get one of your young employees to be like, make an Instagram for us.
Yes.
That's awesome. Well, Dave, thanks for your time. Follow Little Caesars on Instagram. Go eat Little Caesars in real life. All right. Well, Street Champs, come get put on. Dave Feamster, local legend, retired Blackhawk. Wait, no.
Yeah.
Blackhawk. I don't know sports. So I'm like, I didn't want to get the team name wrong.
You got it.
Thanks for your time, man. Thanks for coming. All right, guys.
Thank you, Deryk.
Peace.